Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back once again to Today in African History with Baba Shaka. I'm Baba Shaka, and today is August 19, 2021. Exactly 198 years ago, the enslaved people in the Demerara region of what is now Guyana rebelled against their condition. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind our viewers that Today in African History is in need of a new camera and some additional lighting in order to keep things going here. So, if you'd like to contribute, you may do so through Cash App at hashtag Zulu Contributions. I will, inshallah, list the information down in the description section. Okay, let's get started. The Demerara Rebellion of 1823 was an uprising involving more than 10,000 enslaved people in the crown colony of Demerara Essequibo, which is now part of Guyana, located on the coast of South America, sandwiched between Venezuela to the west, Suriname to the east, and of course Brazil to the south. The rebellion took place on August 18, 1823, and lasted 2 days. No particular incident sparked the rebellion. The enslaved simply grew tired of their servitude and sought to resist in the most direct way that they could. Now, planning for the rebellion began on August 17, 1823, at Plantation Success, one of the largest estates in the area. Two leaders emerged during the planning period: Jack Gladstone, who was a cooper on Plantation Success, and his father, Kwamina, a senior deacon at the church led by English Protestant missionary John Smith. Now, Gladstone and others planned the uprising, but Kwamina objected to any bloodshed and suggested instead that the enslaved should go on strike. Kwamina and other leaders visited John Smith, informing him of his son's plans. What kind of foolishness is that? I don't know. But they went and informed the white missionary of the plans. Smith then urged the enslaved to remain peaceful, exercise patience, and wait for new laws that would reduce their suffering. Now that's what the Christian missionary said. Be peaceful, exercise patience, and wait for new laws to reduce your suffering. Kwamina carried Smith's message back to the plantation. Now, of course, Kwamina's call to remain peaceful fell on deaf ears, as well it should. The enslaved on Plantation Success rebelled the next evening, August 18, 1823, and attempted to seize all the firearms on the plantation. They locked up the whites during the night, planning to release them when their demands were met. Now, they didn't necessarily see their rebellion as a change to slavery itself, but demanded better treatment for enslaved people in the Demerara Essequibo region. Now, most of the enslaved remained loyal to their masters. Surprise, surprise, right? An enslaved house servant, Joseph Packwood, told his owner, John Simpson, about the planned revolt before it began. And of course, Simpson in turn informed Governor John Murray, who rode out to confront the rebels with the militia. Every time you plan something, there's always one traitor in the midst who runs and tells what's going on. Now, the enslaved demanded their rights, but Governor Murray ordered them to return to their plantation. And when they refused, he declared martial law. Some returned to the plantations while others participated in the rebellion. Now, only a handful of whites were killed during the Demerara Rebellion. The rebels locked up owners, managers, and overseers on 37 plantations who did not flee to Georgetown, the colonial capital. When the rebellion began, large numbers of Christian slaves refused to rebel and helped suppress those who rose up. I wonder why. Let me say that again. Large numbers of Christian slaves refused to rebel and helped suppress those who rose up. Interesting. Other enslaved people confronted their owners and the military forces sent against them. On Bachelor's Adventures Plantation, approximately 2,000 enslaved people confronted Lieutenant Colonel John Leahy and his militia. When the enslaved refused Leahy's orders to disperse, he commanded his troops to fire into the crowd, and approximately 200 people were killed. Although the rebellion ended on Tuesday, August 19, the punishment that came after was severe. Hundreds of rebels were hunted down and killed, including 200 who were beheaded as a warning to other enslaved people. I mean, today we talk about ISIS and all these other groups who behead people. We say, oh, that's so barbaric. Where do you think they learned it from? Okay? 200 people beheaded as a warning to other enslaved people. 14 rebels were hastily tried and sentenced to be hanged. Governor Murray commuted their sentence and had them deported elsewhere to the Caribbean. Jack Gladstone was deported to St. Lucia. But his father, Kwamina, the one who had said, let's have no bloodshed, and argued against the revolt, he was tracked down by dogs and Indians, not East Indians, but Amerindians, and killed in September of 1823. Now, as a side note, when my parents were growing up in British Guiana, there was a street in the capital, Georgetown, that ran east to west between Main Street and South Cummingsburg and others, that was called Murray Street, after the governor who presided over this ultra-cruel response to people seeking their freedom. But shortly after gaining independence in 1966, the name of the country was changed from British Guiana to Guyana, and Prime Minister Forbes Burnham had Murray Street renamed Kwamina Street. To today and every other day, we celebrate the rebellious spirits of our ancestors. Never forget, the struggle continues. I want to take this moment to remind you all that the information presented to you here on Today in African History is not intended to provide you with all the details. It's not a semester course. It is, however, intended to pique your interest and hopefully cause you to dig deeper into the subject matter. So you got some homework to do. To our subscribers, we say thank you and thank you again for your continued support. To those of you who have not yet subscribed, we urge you to hit that subscribe button just below there and lend us your much needed support. Please like and leave a comment down in the comment section below. But, and I repeat, but most importantly, please share, especially with the young amongst us, because as you and I know, this material is not taught in our schools. So, until tomorrow, inshallah, this is Baba Shaka with Today in African History. Masalam.